There are plenty of apps which are designed to help you be more productive. Things like to-do lists, calendars, time trackers, even apps which track what websites you're on so it can tell you off if you're getting distracted. So when I watched Ali Abdal's video about the apps that he uses, I thought I had to give it a try. A MacBook or laptop doesn't come with very much. It's sort of like a blank canvas for what apps you want to have on it. But the right set of apps can make your laptop a much more powerful tool for helping you be more productive and getting all your work done. This is definitely not the first time I'm giving productivity apps a go. In the past I've used things like to-do lists, Pomodoro timers, even Google Calendar, which my job forces me to use because they want to have meetings with me sometimes. The nerve. But most of these never stuck for me. I'd use them for a couple days and then I just stopped, and I never really gave it so much of a thought why. Maybe I wasn't really feeling the benefit, or I just got too lazy to use them, or maybe they just weren't the right apps. So I want to see if this experiment will show me the benefit I can get from using these apps, or if they'll be too much effort to use. With some research, I figured out 3 types of apps I needed most if I want to bolster my productivity: to-do lists, calendar, and Pomodoro timer. So here are the apps that I started using. For a to-do list, I'm using Things 3. The thing about Things is that you can organize your tasks in different areas of your life. Here I've got one for exercise, for things in my apartment, work, even things I want to do for my relationship or family. In using this, I realized how much of a game changer this is. Individually, these areas look very small in terms of how many tasks I've got inside of them. But without this kind of organization, if they were all just part of one big list, then it would look really huge, it would look very messy and cluttered. I found myself starting every morning by writing all the things that I want to do today. And usually by the time I go to sleep, I tick off all these boxes. And let me tell you, this feels amazing. This feeling of accomplishment that you get when you've done all the things you've planned to do. Because of how everything is organized, I started using things as more than a to-do list. Things like video ideas, places I want to eat out at with my girlfriend, even the expected delivery dates of things that I've ordered online. For a calendar, I'm using Fantastical. I've been put off for the longest time of using other calendar apps, no matter how useful they were, because most of them just looked really ugly, especially compared to Google Calendar. But Fantastical looks, well, fantastic. And the selling point about this calendar is when you add a new event, you can type it in human readable language and it'll figure it all out for you. For example, I'm gonna write dinner with Sonia at 8 p.m. in Bologna. And there you go. It's made that event at 8 p.m. in Bologna. I've been a little bit on and off about how much I'm using this calendar. What I want to try doing is track every minute of my day on this calendar, which is a challenge that I saw from Matt Diavella. And I think Fantastical will be amazing for that. Now this is the big one, a Pomodoro timer. This isn't the big one, this is actually just a regular tomato. If you don't know, the Pomodoro technique is a way of getting focused work done by dedicating 25-minute chunks of your time, focusing on one single task without any distractions, and then taking a break for 5 minutes before starting the cycle again. And I love this technique because it doesn't only help you get focused work done and set aside all the distractions, but it also encourages you to take regular breaks. And it's also a great way of helping me get stuff done when I don't really feel like doing them, because it makes me think, hey, it's only 25 minutes, right? But in practice, over the years, the Pomodoro technique never really stuck for me. I would try doing it for a few days and then I just stop and forget about it for the next 2 years. But I was always excited to give it another go, so I did this using Session. The thing about Session is when you would start a Pomodoro session, you could set a goal for that session and it would also keep a record of the session afterwards and even add it to your calendar. And it made me realize that the reason that the Pomodoro technique never stuck for me in the past is because I would use websites that kept no record of my sessions. What encourages me to keep using it now is I could look back at the Pomodoro sessions that I've done during the day and just kind of thank myself for how much I've gotten done, for how much focus time I was able to put in, or feel accountable if I haven't done so. But if there isn't a record, then there's simply no motivation for me. I can't feel grateful or hold myself accountable, and the technique just falls flat. So those 3 apps were the biggest game changers in upping my productivity, but there are other apps that I want to talk about which indirectly help me be more productive by making my MacBook a bit easier to use or making some personal tasks a bit easier to do. CleanShot is the best screenshotting and screen recording tool that I've ever used. It's very easy to screenshot a part of your screen or an entire window, and when you do screenshot an entire window, it puts part of your desktop background behind it, which just makes it look so much nicer. Moom is a tool that lets you split your windows to either side of the screen, which is a feature that I really wish came with stock macOS. Sigma OS is a browser that lets you split your tabs into different workspaces. As somebody who often keeps multiple tabs open for different things, this is very awesome for me to use. Day One is a journaling app that keeps a record of all my journals and shows me a calendar with the days that I have or haven't journaled, so I can feel really bad about myself if I miss a day. But so far I haven't. I'm currently doing a 30-day journaling challenge, and I really needed an app that could help me with it. Text is an app that gathers all your social media into one place, except for Instagram and Snapchat for some reason. To be honest, I'm still testing this out because I got it very recently. It's invite only to install the app, and I needed to tweet at Text themselves for them to give me a link. And so far it seems to be a little bit buggy, so I'm not so sure about this one. And finally, Typora is the app that I use to write down my scripts, documentation, or basically anything that I need to write down. It's clean and very minimal, which makes it feel really nice to write with. Now, for the most part, all the apps that I've mentioned thus far have been very useful for me and have benefited me enough that even though some of them costed a little bit of money, I was willing to pay the software devs for the effort in making them. But now I want to talk about a couple of apps that I didn't find very useful or worth their price. Alfred is sort of a replacement to Spotlight, which is the global search bar for macOS. Alfred was designed to be an overall improvement to Spotlight, and I've heard that this definitely used to be the case, but with the release of Spotlight 4, which is still fairly recent, Spotlight just became so much better that I found Alfred not as nice to use when it came for looking up applications or looking up info online. When it came to Pomodoro timers, the first one I tried using was Rise, because not only did it have a built-in Pomodoro timer and keeps a record of your Pomodoro sessions, but it also tracks what apps and websites you're using during your focus sessions, so it can tell you if you're being distracted during them. And it even generates a report of it so you can look at it afterwards. To be honest, I never found these reports very useful, and this Pomodoro timer did annoy me a bit, because while I do like seeing how much focus time I've got left in a session, what I don't like is when it covers up a part of your screen to do so. There was a time when I was writing an article for a tech magazine and I needed it to be about 300 words long. And I know in Typora that there's a section which shows you how many words you've written, and I spent the longest time looking for this just because it was getting covered by Rise's Pomodoro timer. Not fun. So what do I think about all these new apps? I absolutely enjoy using them. It actually makes me feel a lot more excited to be productive because using all these productivity tools feels more fun. It feels more complete in a way. So I'll definitely be keeping these apps, and I'll see a few months down the line if I will still be using them as consistently. So if you've tried any of these apps or had experiences using productivity apps in the past, do let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear your experience about using them, if they were useful to you, or if you've given up on using them like me in the past. Thanks for watching.